day, everyone. Good day, Mr. Jess. We are the Group 5, and I am Chirlene Baligasa together with my group, May Francine Caminade and Skydon Caro. So, our group is assigned to tackle about the lesson 6, which is the women and the law. So, the first thing we have in here is the Article 2, Section 14 of the 1987 Constitution. So, the state recognizes the role of women in nation building and shall ensure the fundamental equality before the law of women and men. So, this emphasizes the state's commitment to protecting and promoting rights for women. So this ensures equality and give chances to women to participate fully in the society. So it highlights the commitment of the state to provide women equal opportunity in all spheres in life. So we have here the second one, which is the Article 13, Section 14. So this is the state's obligation to protect working women by ensuring their rights and welfare in the workplace. So this includes equal access to employment, also prohibiting gender-based discrimination, and also giving them essential benefits like maternity leave or health care during pregnancy and childbirth. So by this fosters women to give their full participation in the workforce, and as well as safeguarding their rights and welfare and their well-being. Okay, so we have here the various laws promoting gender equality. So the first one is Local Government Code of 1991. So what is the Local Government Code of 1991? So this law focuses on the participation of women in local governance and development. So it encourages the government to promote gender equality as well as empowering women by ensuring their representation in the decision-making processes. So this framework supports broader efforts toward gender equality and social justice in local governance. Okay, so we have here the second law that promotes gender equality. So we have here the Labor Code of 1989. So this provision aimed at promoting gender equality as well as the safety of women in the workplace. So this is somewhat similar to the Article 13, Section 14. So it is similar in the way that it is the Labor Code also prohibits gender-based discrimination, equal pay for equal work, and also giving women essential benefits like the maternity leave or the health care during pregnancy and childbirth. So these provisions are made to enhance the women's participation in the labor force and promoting gender equality in the employment practices. So we have here the third law, which is the 1988 Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law. So this law aims to promote social justice and equitable land distribution. So it recognizes the role of women in agriculture by giving them or by granting them equal rights in land ownership or in the access of agrarian reform benefits. So this law encourages women to participate in farming and in rural development, supporting their empowerment and contributing to gender equality in agrarian communities. So we have here the fourth one, which is the Anti-Sexual Harassment Law, Republic Act 7877, 1995. So this law basically protects individuals, specifically women from sexual harassment in their workplace, in educational institutions or other environments. So it, of course, the offenders are given penalties of promoting a safer environment for people, for women so that they can study or work without fear in their certain environments. The fifth one, which is the Republic Act of 8355 1997, or also known as Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children. So this law aims to address or prevent violence against women and their children. So it recognizes the need for legal protection and support services for the victims, promoting the safety and giving protection to them, to their welfare, to their rights, and to their dignity. So we have here the sixth law that promotes gender equality, and it is the Party List Law, or the Republic Act of 7941. So it facilitates the representation of marginalized and underrepresented sectors in the Philippine Congress, including women. So it mandates that the party list groups must ensure the inclusion of women in their list of nominees. So it promotes gender equality in political representation. And then we have the seventh one, the law that promotes gender equality, which is the Women in Nation Building, or the Republic Act number 7192. So this act recognizes the role of the women in nation building and recognizing also their contributions in various sectors. So this law promotes gender equality and ensuring that women receives equal access to opportunities and resources. So the eighth law that promotes gender equality is the Republic Act 7688, or the Women's Health Act of 1994. So this law aims to protect and promote women's health rights, focusing on maternal and reproductive health services. So this act supports gender equality by ensuring that women can make their own informed choices about their lives, or with their lives and health. The last but not the least, the Republic Act of 7822, or also known as the Women's Entrepreneurship Act of 1995. So this law focuses on the women's participation in business and entrepreneurship. So it aims to enhance the women's access to credit, training, and resources needed in starting and managing a company, or a business, or an enterprise. So how is it related to gender equality? It can be related to gender equality in a way that it helps to bridge a gap in economic opportunities between men and women. So I hope you learned something from me, and I will now give the floor to May Francine Caminado. Thank you for watching.
Good day everyone, so I am May Francine Caminade, and in my part, we are going to talk about the women's participation. So women's participation absolutely means that women's voices are being heard and their viewpoints are taken into consideration in any participation they have. So to start with, women's right to vote was granted on 1937. So Filipino women have been granted the right to vote and to be voted since April 30, 1937. So before, only men has the right to vote and to be voted. But this lasts long until 1937, when the Filipino women's right to vote was granted. So this Filipino rights to participate includes political participation. So this means that women have the rights to engage in any political discourse and advocate for policies. So women have the right and the freedom to engage in political discourse or political participation. The next would be economic participation. So same goes with the political participation. Women have the right and the freedom to participate in any economic participation, and women has the right and the equal opportunities in employment, education, and entrepreneurship. The last one would be social participation. So same goes with economic and political participation. Women have the rights to involve, to participate in any community life. So women have the right, has the freedom to participate in political, economic, and may it be in social participation. So the next topic would be women's involvement in civil society. So women's expression of involvement in civil society could be through organizing along gender-specific issues and formation of women groups with broad coalitions or power-enhancing mechanisms. So women often take lead in addressing issues that directly impact their lives, not just their lives but the lives of everyone and every individuals within the community, such as gender-based violence, respect reproductive rights, economic inequality, and access to education and healthcare. Women usually form organizations, advocacy groups to raise awareness and challenge discriminatory practices, and advocates for policies that promotes gender equality. So women's involvement in civil society is a powerful force for a positive change of a community or a society. So the women's commitment in addressing gender-specific issues and their participation in a broader coalitions contribute to a more and just equitable and sustainable society or a sustainable community. So by empowering women's participation fully in civil society, we can create a world where everyone has the opportunity and has the free will to contribute their skills and perspectives. Next topic would be women and education. So the international community has recognized the equal rights to quality education of everyone and committed to achieving gender equality in all fields, including education through the acceptance of international human rights law. So the international community recognizes the equal rights of education for everyone. So this means that education is not just for the men, but also for women, for the girls in a community. So education is for everyone, including women. So educating women has profound impacts in our community. Educating women would give a positive impact in economic growth. Why? Because manaman nga educated women could contribute into our what we call this economic growth. It is because educated women contribute to economic growth because they earn higher wages and more likely they invest in their families and also to their community. Other than that, educated women also has profound impact into improving health outcomes. So educated women make better health choices for themselves and for their families. And then by this can lead to a lower child mortality rates and improve overall health. It is because women is very conservative or very kanang focus kayo sila sa well-being sa tanan. So by this, educated women would have a profound impact into our improving our health outcomes. And then the third one would be social progress. So educated women would highly contribute into social progress. It is because women's education empowers them to participate more fully in society. So if you will look around into our society karon, there are a lots of women nga they are very participative or very active in our society to develop more our society, to prosper our society more. And so they challenge gender stereotypes. So until now dili Japan mawala ang mga gender stereotyping, especially kanang naate kanang mga women's nga run into government, into higher positions. So gender stereotyping is still present, but then we can't deny the fact that women's education empowers them to participate fully in our society, to advocate for their rights. But they don't advocate just for the rights, but for the rights of everyone, for the well-being of everyone. But despite the progress, challenges remain. So despite the progress sa women's in education, so women's participation, so women's involvement in civil society, challenges is always present. So dili gihapon wala ang mga challenges. First is discrimination. So discrimination is really present gihapon even in women education. So discrimination includes the gender stereotypes and societal norms that often limit women's access to education, particularly in developing countries. Sa aban gihapon nga places or lugar, women's nadya pa yung limit ang women's access to education, pero diri sa ato karon I can see that mostly ang pinaka-high og rates sa women nga has attain education is higher than women. Pero sa uban nga areas, especially sa mga developing countries, developing areas, gender stereotyping and societal norms malimit gyapon ang limits the women's access to education. And then next is financial barriers. So aside sa gender discriminations or the gender stereotypings, financial barrier gihapon is one of the factors that ma-challenge ang ato ang pag-progress sa women and education. So poverty and lack of resources can prevent girls from attending school. So if we would analyze, dili lang man sa girls and lack of resources, dili lang mampud ang girls ang mag-prevent from attending school because of financial barriers, but also put sa man, sa mga laki, it also affects them, especially kanang lack ta og resources, kanang wala ta kaayo wala tayo ka-afford financially sa mga expenses sa schools, especially if college ka, so maglisod ka if asa nimo kuhaon ang pambayad sa mga boarding house for your tuition fees, and if eskwela man galing ka sa state universities or such as a nurse, free tuition, pero there are other expenses. So financial barriers or poverty is really the hindrance na makaskwela ang ubang girls and ang ubang boys. So yes, despite the progress, challenges remains. And the next would be the early marriage and childbearing. So aside sa discrimination, aside sa financial barriers, naapot tayo early marriage and childbearing nga hindrance or a challenge sa ato ang pagskwela, especially ang women. So early marriage and childbearing often interrupts girls' education. So why? Kina ay uban na while gaskwela pa sila is they already bear a child or na mabdo sila. So this would be a hindrance or mo interrupt sa ilahang education. So may tendency which is very present in our generation right now na those girls na bears child or face early marriage is makastop jud sila sa ilahang studies because of early marriage. Dili manggaling sila financially challenged, pero na-challenge sila sa early marriage and childbearing. So what I can advise to everyone, especially sa akong self, is we should focus sa ato ang study. Okay? After this, pwede naman ta magbuhat ng abutang. And then for now, let us focus on our studies so that we can prove that girls are strong. Charis. So by investing in women's education, we can invest in better future for everyone. That would be all. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Jazz. I am Skydon M. Caro, and I will be discussing about the national program supporting gender equality specifically for women. First on the list is the Philippine Plan for Gender Development, in 1995 to 2025. This is the overall frame that is also the point of reference for the discussion and monitoring of gender mainstreaming. This national program is under the Executive Order 273 issued on September 9, 1995 and signed by the President Fidel V. Ramos, adopted the Philippine Plan of Gender Responsive Development in 1995 to 2025. Next is the Gender and Development Budget, or GAD. Women have the right to maximize their involvement in the governments, be it at the local or the national level. The Magna Carta of Women, Republic Act No. 9710, defines that Gender and Development Program, or GAD, as the development perspective and process that is participatory and empowering, equitable, sustainable, free from violence, respectful of human rights, supportive of self-determination, and actualization of human potentials. Also, Gender and Development Budget is the policy directs all government departments and agencies to allocate a minimum of 5% of their total annual budgets for gender programs, projects, and activities. And lastly, we have the Framework Plan for Women, or the FPW. This promotes women's economic empowerment, advance and protect women human rights, and promote gender-responsive governance. This plan also identifies the concrete gender issues that will be addressed, pinpoint targets and indicators, name programs, formulates the implementation plan, and set up tools for monitoring and evaluation. And also, the Framework Plan for Women was supported by our then President, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, which again aimed to promote women's economic empowerment, protect women's human rights, and encourage and strengthen gender-responsive governance. And to conclude my part on our report, we can all agree that as time goes by, more and more programs or laws or projects are made and founded to protect and support gender equality, specifically for our women and children. So the importance of this is very vital in our society nowadays, especially that women and children is also the part of our future, and if we don't support them, our future will not be as strong as it should be. So, and again, I am Skydan Amcaro, and that's all for my report, and thank you.
That would be all. Thank you.
So I hope you learned something from me